Hey, what's good, y'all? It's Justin, or Exceed Thought. Really just an identity. But I don't identify with these identities. I'm just playing the role of the script and alchemizing my energy through the controller, which would be my ego. Now, welcome back to another prosperous, out-of-body, translucent, divine perspective. And I'm gonna be talking about Black Mirrors and television, cartoons, why screens are being pushed onto kids, why parents allow that to happen. I mean, realistically, it's because the same thing was done to them in another form of trauma. So where some parents, not all parents, but some parents really don't give a fuck about their kids. Some parents had their kids on accident. Some parents would rather have this screen parent their kids because it's easier to deal with. They haven't dealt with their inner child themselves. That's why they give this screen to the kid, so this kid can be parented by the screen, which is honestly really crazy to me. Because if you're having a kid, or I mean, if you're morally aligned with yourself, you would, even if you had this kid on by accident, you would want to I mean, that's your disciple, basically. That's your offspring. So why wouldn't you want to give this kid show him the ropes, teach him, I mean, just truth aligned to their moral compass? I don't understand that, but that's just me. And yeah, but I'm gonna be talking about basically, like what I was saying, TVs, and we're gonna be going into how it's just a reflection of our consciousness within our thoughts and what we allow to be projected back to us and what we put into the screen. But first, I'm gonna be getting into the scientific aspect of the television and blue light. So the blue light, right, is radiated off of the screen into your retina, and within your retina you have these cells, or these proteins called melanopsin proteins. And within these proteins you have these cells called retinal ganglion cells. And if I'm saying that right or wrong, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. It's just a word. Okay. And within these cells, basically, these cells detect light, if it's light outside, if it's dark outside, and basically are keeping track of time, or just the resting period within your vessel. Or yeah, I'll leave it at that. But within these cells, though, they send this information back to basically the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or I mean, it's in the hypothalamus, which, if you don't know what the hypothalamus is, it's a center within your brain. Forget where exactly, because it's my first time researching upon this topic. But basically, the hypothalamus is basically keeping your body in homeostasis. Did I say that right? Homeostasis. Okay. Making sure oxygen levels are in check, blood pressure, you know what I'm saying, body temperature, inflammation, all of these things internally. It's making sure that you're good, making sure your hormones are balanced. I almost said imbalanced. Right. But the hypothalamus is linked to your endocrine system and your nervous system. The endocrine system is basically tissues or glands, basically, that create and release hormones. So, okay, this is the picture. I'm gonna get up a little bit so you can see me better. But basically, this blue light, this blue magic, this I mean, chakra control, right? Because it's a color, it's a form of magic, it's a wavelength. Vibrations turn into colors, right? I mean, you kind of get where things interlink with each other. But within this endocrine system, I mean, excuse me. Here we go. The hypothalamus system, basically, you have the pineal gland, you have the thyroid gland, you have the pituitary gland, you have the adrenal gland, you have the pancreas, then you have the genitals or the ovaries for if you're a man or a female. You know what I'm saying? But so if this blue light, right? If we're constantly on the screen, we're talking about we're allowing the screen to not only imbalance our hormones, right? Throw off our circadian rhythm, sleep schedule. So now you get mood swings. You may get irregular periods. You may get acne, brain fog, fatigue, low sex drive, low energy in general. You may be more tired. Like, I mean, I said fatigue, but you may be more tired into where you no longer want to create. You no longer want to go after your passions. Speaking for myself, for example, excuse me, I want to continue to do these videos and I want to dive deeper into just science or Luciferianism, because science is really just... I read this book today. The Science of Greatness, or I have to find I don't know. But in the prologue, right, it was giving thanks to the light bearer of science. And if we're talking about I forget exactly how I worded it, but if we're talking about a light bearer, if you go into Freemasonry, and I forget what book it was, but it's made by Albert Pike. You go into Freemasonry, it literally talks about giving glory or giving thanks to Lucifer, the light bearer, which would just be Jesus. Jesus, God, Satan, Lucifer, these are all the same things. And that's why you don't know yourself if you follow religion. If you follow a God, you don't know yourself, because you do not have balance within yourself. You are following contradictions. Okay? It's a contradiction. It's a contradiction to be an all-loving God, but in the Old Testament or in the New Testament, in the Old Testament, right? To kill off all of your creations. It's a contradiction as God to have thoughts and to be emotional. It just is. These are only human concepts. These are only things that yeah, I mean, it's just really just a human concept. Feelings. What are feelings? When we give the definition to the feeling, right? The feeling doesn't say, oh, you're feeling sad. Oh, you're feeling remorseful or whatever. Happy, graceful, grateful. You give definition to that vibration. That vibration doesn't give definition to the definition or the feeling. You do. Through language. Right, so I'm going way off track. So let me get back on topic. All right, so yeah, so I mean, within the hypothalamus, we got hormone release, alertness, digestion, circadian rhythm, all these things, right? And like I just said, if you're constantly giving your awareness and your energy to a black mirror, you're constantly having an astral parasite or astral leech take from your mind, take your creativity, take your energy. Now, getting into AI and For You pages. AI or this For You page or the internet or whatever. These things can only reflect back to you the energy you put into it. So, if you have an unhealed inner child and you love chaos, you love to gossip, you love to be involved in drama or be involved in celebrities or just basically things that don't matter to your growth or to your spirit, news outlets, I mean politicians, just like Twitter or Instagram, and going scrolling on your feed and looking through like oh this sports team won this game, or oh this person got locked up for doing this, or whatever the case may be. You know how it goes. You've been on social media before. If you haven't, good. But you get this, you get what I'm saying, right? What you give your energy to social media can only take that within and give it back to you. So, and I mean, you know how Google goes across different apps, and honestly, like, the phone is always listening. Somebody's always listening. And that information gets sent to AI, basically. Gets sent back to AI, and AI is like, that. I mean, that's why AI is a good tool, but all AI does is take the information you give it and reflect it back to you. It doesn't have the experience to go with it, to basically be able to give you a authentic message. It's just saying what others have experienced, not what you have experienced. But yeah, it's a good tool, but to put your truth into that, that's crazy. To put your truth into a God, to put your trust, your truth, your awareness into, fully into AI or money or God. These are all the same things at the end of the day. It's all external, because it's internal, right? Everything is a reflection of yourself, but it's an artificial, external, energetic leech that will take your energy if you don't know or learn to alchemize your energy within that through balance, right? But so if these screens can only reflect back to you the thoughts that you give it, we're watching, let's say, like, I'm watching Amazing World of Gumball, or I'm watching Adventure Time, or I'm watching Johnny Test, or I'm watching what other shows? It don't matter. It don't matter, right? Flapjack, whatever the case may be. Through this show, right? This show and music too. Mind you, there are some hidden gems in shows. I'm not gonna say that there's not. But through this storytelling, we're telling a story that is fueled by beings or people whose, sorry, I'm trying to think of how I want to word this, whose inner child are traumatized. Because we're coming up with stories that don't serve nobody's purpose besides entertainment. The best form of entertainment is trauma, because it's chaotic, right? So with that, you can create any type of entertainment. Hold on, let me get my thoughts together, because that's not where I want to go. Okay, put that to the side, right? For a second. We'll put it down. The way the Black Mirror works, it can only, and this is why I say it only reflects back your consciousness too, because in the wavelength, right? The wavelength of the television is literally the same wavelength as what you can see. It doesn't go into the UV, it doesn't go into the, what is the other one that's right next to it? It doesn't go into, it's like infrared. It doesn't go into those, right? It's just, it's what you can see. So Literally, bro. And I've had out-of-body experiences in the sense of being out of my mind when I'm talking or when I'm thinking. Because, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I envision myself in 5 years. I see myself at the end of my day, or I see myself getting food, or walking my dog, or spending time with my girl, or driving to a location, or whatever the fuck may be. Those are out-of-body experiences because I'm envisioning myself in that quantum reality. Let me put my feet down because my feet are falling asleep. And yeah, right. But that is a form of awareness. Within my vision, right? Within my vision, within my lenses, it is no different than that TV screen. If I want to change my job, if I want to change my mindset, if I want to write a book, if I want to go for a run, if I want to go to the gym, if I want to read a book, if I want to go get food, if I want to have junk food today and not be healthy, if I want to fast for today, it doesn't matter. Whatever basically, my vessel and my thoughts, well, I'll say my vessel is the remote control for the television, right? But my thoughts, our thoughts, but they're not my thoughts. They're not my thoughts, right? If they were my thoughts, I wouldn't even be in this physical experience right now. I would be ascended way, you know what I'm saying? If we could all control our thoughts, you wouldn't have ups and downs. You wouldn't have anxiety, or what you define as anxiety. You wouldn't have fears, worries, because within that thought, you would attract. I mean, it just makes sense, right? If you were your thoughts, I wouldn't do any of this that I'm doing right now. I mean, I'm just being for real. I would go beyond the physical. But by my thoughts being the energy that controls the controller that turns on the television, boom. When I turn on the television, that's me waking up in the rising. That's me getting up out of my bed. That's me getting ready for my day. Okay. How do I want to, when I'm getting ready for my day, right? How do I want to set the tone, or set the vibration, or set the frequency of this channeling for my awareness to have a great day? No matter what happens to me, right? No matter what I experience or what I think I experience. My thoughts are what allow myself to maneuver through what my thoughts are what how can I word that? Sorry. My thoughts are the energy, or is the energy that defines the channel that I watch. So that's me. That's not me, but that's I as in the observer or awareness. That's me putting my awareness onto things that benefit me, right? I'm choosing to put my awareness into that. Okay. So how that basically is, and maybe my point was proven already, but how essentially that corresponds to that lens being only a reflection of my lens is because I put truth into that lens. I define what that lens means. If we didn't understand language, we would be like, what the fuck is going on with this? Or, I mean, you wouldn't even say that. You would just observe it for what it is. But like characters and storylines and commercials and advertisements, like we're really just changing the channel through a quantum observation. Because when you take a step back, right, and I'd be like, okay, what do I want to do for today that will benefit me? Or in general, right? I'm changing the channels through what I can observe. Same thing to be said with video games or cartoons or reality TV, right? Does Finn and Jake, do they know that they're conscious, or are they just oh my gosh, or are they just playing out a script? And is that script one? I mean, I kind of just said this. Are they aware of that script? Are they gonna wake up and be like, or are they gonna break the fourth wall and be like, why are you watching me? I'm trying to think of like SpongeBob. SpongeBob could, or Squidward could be like, why do you allow SpongeBob to break into my house and be underneath my pillow? If you know that episode, why did you allow that? Why didn't you tell SpongeBob, yo, SpongeBob, I think it's kind of strange that you're breaking into this dude's house. I mean, yes, you know him, but that's kind of strange, isn't it not? Or yeah, so that's why I say it's a reflection of your consciousness, because these storylines, I mean, where is the authenticity? Where is the benefit for my and your life? Where are we learning to invest? Where are we learning to take care of our skin, our minds, our vessels? Where are we learning to, I mean, yes, you can find these things, but mainstream, you're always going to find some form of occultism. And that's because we live in a system that wants you to suck on its titty endlessly, infinitely, because it goes beyond time. It goes beyond a human mindset, right? And that's why AI is being pushed onto your kids. That's why, and this is a topic that I'm still from getting more used to, but I'm understanding it, why the LGBTQ plus agenda is, or LGBTQ agenda is being pushed onto kids. The trans agenda is being pushed onto kids. Not because it's wrong, or not because it's wrong to want to identify with that, because you can do what you will. Do what you want, right? Not that that's wrong, but we're putting these ideas into kids that don't even know themselves and are going to soak up those ideas like sponges. That's when you start leading in gateways or thought forms to where they think it's okay to be gay, in the sense of like touching each other or making gay jokes, because it's in high schools too, or middle schools, and not just only elementary schools, but I mean shit, probably colleges too. I used to understand like how being gay is funny, or that form of comedy, but really at the end of the day, it's just your trauma being bottled up into comedy. It is. Speaking from my own experience, because like I just said, I used to think those things were funny, right? Moaning in the hallways, or I mean, I never like spank somebody's ass. I think that's weird as fuck. I never seen nobody do that, but I'm sure it's been done, right? Touching on other people, touching on other kids, right? But not only to invert their mindsets, but to invert their chakras as well. Them thinking that this is funny is them now, I mean, us just being born, quote unquote, is us being a slave to the system that we all participate in every single day. willingly. But I'm saying it will invert your chakra system into you entertaining, performing a satanic ritual. Basically, because, like, let me get my thoughts together on that. You're performing this satanic ritual because, excuse me. I mean, what are you doing? Right? You should not, I just don't understand why a kid's mindset or mind space should be surrounded around this. But I do understand it because of perversion. And this perversion can be, like I said, bottled up within trauma as well, and expressed through different avenues, through your parents, within how they raise you. And what I mean by that is, if your parents are not involved within your life, if they just let you have a game, or have a phone, or, I mean, like, with these things, just speaking from experience, your parents don't really know you. They know you to a point, but they don't know who you are on that screen through that projected consciousness. But I say you're acting in a slave ritual, in a satanic ritual, because Luciferians, I mean, as far as you go back into research, have performed orgy parties, I mean, Diddy parties, right? Why is it okay? Why is it funny? Why is it laughable to joke about Diddy parties and the satanic ritual abuse that all ages have gone through within those parties, right? That's just disgusting to me. And that's where it leads for the acceptance of basically accepting pedophilia. And you may think like, oh, that's nonsense, oh, that's crazy, nah, my kids will never do that. But there's no denying that right now is, I mean, it's like, it's a stepping stone. How much can artificial consciousness get away with programming kids? How far can that go? Like, this is only the beginning. It's only the beginning. And parents will allow that because, like I said earlier, they don't really give a fuck about their kids. They don't want to take care of the kids. Too much energy. Oh, they got too much shit going on themselves. Right? Because then again, their inner child is traumatized. Still, their nervous system is frozen within that past experience that they went through, or how they were raised, or whatever the fuck may be. You know what I'm saying? That's all I really got for this video. It goes so deep that it goes beyond time. Invertedness goes beyond time. Jesus, like I said earlier, Jesus, Satan, Lucifer, God, they're all the same archetype. If you worship God, if you worship your video game, if you worship your phone, if you worship money, you're worshiping your ego. And worshiping your ego is Satanism. It is. But there's no reason to put a sin on that, because you can't sin what was always natural to your ego's programming. Right? That's all I got. I'm getting tired of speaking. But that really doesn't matter. That's all I got for today. If that made sense to you, perfect. But alchemize that within your truth. See my perspective, contradict that, ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Don't just take what I say as truth, because my ego doesn't even know what it's saying right now. My ego doesn't understand fully what it's living in. It has to go by what my moral compass or what my spiritual compass says without words back to my ego, or through my thoughts, or through thoughts. So yeah, that's all I got. Appreciate you for watching, and I'm trying to think of how I want to end this video. Be aware, be mindful, be present with how you, or where you're putting your awareness into, onto, and around as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's going into like auto suggestions with your subconscious and just people around you and parents and things like that telling you things. But just be aware of the people around you and the intention they have behind their words or their spelling. Because if you don't know yourself, what vibration are you spewing? If your mind is hive-minded, you're going to be spreading, you're going to be spelling out these inverted, Babylonian, Luciferian, satanic spells, because these spells only will keep you in suffering. These spells will keep you to a 9-to-5 job. These spells will keep you enslaved into working for someone else. I mean, I kind of just said that. These spells will keep you in the vessel, in the physical, if you don't know how to alchemize them for a betterment. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. Peace. One love. I wanted to say too, and I'm gonna edit this in between the videos somewhere, because this is after I had just ended the video. But when you're putting your awareness into a screen, into blue light, this is how it controls your chakras. Because you are frying your dopamine receptors. You are putting all your awareness into this instant gratification, which will always extract and burn your fucking dopamine, your natural dopamine. It will reprogram your mind to now create this artificial form of dopamine, quick fixes, right? Drugs like heroin, crack, what else? You know what I'm saying? It's how you use it at the end of the day, but when you put your child onto these screens, they will soak this up as information, and they will get mad at you when you take it away. And they don't know no better. But you have to be able to do that for that kid, because they don't know no better. When you're constantly frying your nervous system, basically you're frying your nervous system. When you wake up and the first thing on your mind is a phone or a screen or a video game or watching the news or whatever, when you're constantly doing these things, one, where do you think that's going to place you in terms of a quantum betterment for yourself? Two, how do you think that's going to make you feel going forward with the rest of your day, within having your energy completely drained from your vessel by all these other people's thoughts coming into your brain, right? If social media, if this Black Mirror is just mind consciousness within different formats, why am I constantly scrolling through other people's thoughts? Like, you don't understand how deeply that can get interrooted into your nervous system. And from taking a step back from that, It's something that you can see, because now by like practicing breath work or reading or just simple mindfulness, right? And continuing that, you give your nervous system a break from those quick fixes. You allow your hypothalamus system, your, just physiological, you give your system the break it needs, your mind the space within itself to be able to use discernment, to be able to be like, hey Justin, I don't think right when you get up you should be on that phone. Maybe we should go ahead and drink some water, or brush our teeth, or take care of our face, go for a walk, or just speak better thoughts into ourselves. That's all I wanted to add, honestly. Yeah, that's it.